Hey everybody, welcome aboard one more time. It's time to turn the corner in a pretty big way between chapters 2 and 3. We head out of the world of pitch and go into that of rhythm, where there's a lot of stuff that I think to our ears is really obvious. I think anybody that's attracted to music is mostly attracted to it for a rhythmic reason. In addition to other things. But if it's anything, it's rhythm for a lot of people, I think, And even though it's obvious, there's a lot of terminology. There's a lot of almost overdone theory with rhythm and meter as we're going to study it. So I'm going to try and boil it down a little bit here. Chapter 3 is the first of two chapters that we're going to attack over the next few days. And there's 3 assignments for this chapter, just like the other 2. They're either pretty easy for you because you're familiar with rhythm and you hear it and it makes sense to talk about this way, or it's going to take you a bit. I find people either one or the other place. It could be a struggle if hearing it, feeling it, and certainly talking about it in a theory way is new to you or unnatural. If you're having trouble with some of that terminology and getting the hang of how they're talking about this, you should give me an email or contact me one way or another. Although it would take me a while to just read through the whole chapter, let me try and read over a couple of points, and that leads up to assignment 1.1. Then the bigger part of the chapter leads to both of the other 2 assignments. So assignment 3.2 and 3 they give at the end of the chapter. So and we are going to try and aim for some oral skills on this one and work our way back toward pitch with oral skills. So simple meters. When you have songs that are either in a 2 feel, a 3 feel, or a 4 feel, where their beats are in groups of 2, 3, or 4. It really is 90-some% of all Western music tunes. By Western, I mean Western world music. Take the Oh Susanna that they have here.
It rained all day the night I left. The weather was so dry. The sun so hot I froze myself.
Tapping along with Oh Susanna, right?
Oh Susanna, oh don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee.
So 1, 2, tap, tap. Right? Feels kind of like a march. It's a more folky feel than just a straight ahead march, like such as the most famous march, maybe Stars and Stripes Forever. They use that song in here a bit. So 1, 2. 2 beats. Why do we have marches? Because people usually have 2 feet, and it's left, right. 3, sort of the redheaded stepchild of the meters these days. Name me a few pop tunes that you like that start or that are in 3. I always ask my classes, and it's not easy to come up with great numbers in 3. Certainly not a rock, pop, or hip hop tune that's going to be in 3, right? What's an example? So got lucky on the key there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Plenty of tunes are in 3, especially older, more folky tunes. This one was another of the great British drinking songs that got turned into American patriotic songs. And then, of course, 4 is more common, and we'll get to that here in a second. If you're feeling 2 beats, it's just 1, 2, the conducting pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2. If it's 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. With a stronger 1 than the other 2 beats, right? It's sort of like 2 is strong, weak, Triple feel is strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. My country, 'tis the sweet land of, and then in 4 you have strong, and then everything else is weaker. But you sort of have 3 as a subsidiary downbeat. It's sort of like strong, weak, kind of strong, weak. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can feel that pretty easy in a rock tune, right? Or take a typical classical symphony. You can feel the ga cha ga cha ga. Take Mozart's symphony theme. It's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then Billie Jean's not my love. She's just a girl saying I'm on my own. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the Mozart. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strong, weak, kind of strong, weak, strong, weak. And in rock and pop, you hear the snare hit on 2 and 4, which kind of inverts the feel of it. It's a strong crack, kind of strong crack. The hit of the snare does that for us, right? Moving right along. What did I want to talk about? Oh, one thing we didn't talk about here is tempi, and from slower to faster. You take the same tune, you could change the whole character of the tune by taking something that's fast and then making it slow, or vice versa. I pulled up a couple of versions of a song that us old white guys know, and that is, let's see if I can find it this way. Grateful Dead's "Friend of the Devil," the original recording, like this. You hear Jerry Garcia's guitar work, along with eventually David Grisman on mandolin. 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Right? I'd call that a medium tempo version of it, right? Medium, kind of fast. Take this playing of it live, however. You hear it here. Tried to cue this up so that it was a little bit more. I cue this up so it was a little bit more right on the verse. Maybe I didn't do such a good job. But you can tell. I lit out from Rio. I was trailed by 2, 3, 4. Now that they're filling in those beats with lots of subdivision work, right? The tune is almost half the tempo of what it was, right? It's truly a ballad, right? This is the one that everyone's faces getting melted because they're dancing their head off. Just might get some sleep tonight. So then take Dave Matthews and Bell Flack. What's the tempo here? More up tempo, right? Faster tempo. I don't have too much time to delve into these, but it's just nice to compare the tempo on the same exact tune, right? And then take Lyle Lovett's recording from the album called Dedicated. There's a bunch of artists covering the Dead. I lit out from Reno. I was trailed by 20. I didn't get to sleep that night till the morning came around. This is someone's slideshow, so
I'm running, but I take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend.
love its take on this tune. It's really interesting. It's not only slower, it's lower in pitch. It drops it from the key of G to the key of E. So it's deeper, right? His voice is deeper than Jerry's, and you know, he's gonna need that kind of thing. All right, back to and what were the tempo markings on these things? Sometimes you'll see at the beginning of the piece, if it's really slow, you'll see largo or adagio. If it's medium, you'll see moderato or andante. Allegro, that was the tempo you'd see easily for that Mozart. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the fast side, right? And a presto is probably a really fast one. When you increase, you accelerate, right? Accelerando. When you slow down, you ritarando, retard. So you'll see those things. The Italian is the mother language of most of these things that are score directions. Although there's some other French, German, English words that get used. Universally, the Italian words are accepted. Right along, we like to get to assignment 1 or 3.1, rhythmic notation. When you have these beats, usually a quarter note is the note that gets one beat, and then a time signature of 3 beats per bar. You see, the top note being that indication, and the bottom note being the kind of note that gets one beat. So with 4 in the denominator, it means that that quarter note gets that. But then they show you some of the different notes you get. Solid note's a quarter note. That's your standard 1-beat note. Hollow note's a half note. That gets twice what a quarter note gets, just like in the real world, right? A half of a cup of sugar is worth 2/4 cups of sugar, right? These eighth notes are either beamed or they have a flag on them, but if it's a stem on a solid note head and either a beam or a flag, it means it's a half a beat note. So, amazing 2-beat note, 1-beat 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, and those are half-beat notes like that. I don't know if that's the best example to demonstrate that. And some of the ways these notes look, you can avail yourself of this. Here's a quarter of a beat notes, which are 16th notes. Right? So in a 4/4 context, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a boom. Let's hear what that sounds like. Of course, they slow down a little bit through that last thing. But, that prelude. And the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the 1E and the 2E, 3, 4. The tempo is not fast, right? But the subdivisions, which are lots of small ones and they're evenly placed, makes the activity come up. It almost makes it sound like it's a fast tempo. And you might even hear it without seeing the notation as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It would be fine to feel it that way, I think, for this tune. Probably is better felt as a slower 4 with 16th notes instead of a regular 4 with with faster 8th notes. So we have the sort of the breakdown of the whole, the halves, the quarters, the eighths, and in a 4-beat context, 1 whole note fills up 1 whole measure. 2 half notes, similar math, right? 4 takes 4 quarter notes. So, a whole note is equal to either of these things, half note is equal to either of these things. Can you recognize by eye these things from Jeannie with the light brown hair? Alright, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, da ba 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 ba, and there's a 16th note with a note that's an 8th with a dot, so that's worth 3/16. More about the dot here in a minute. But 8th, 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 8th. So you just put E's for those ones. 16th, you put an S. Okay. And then with Hey Jude, take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Now, it's such a great tune, such a great natural rhythm, but